Slightly different format today. I missed a couple of upload days due to, well, no excuse, right? I'm always talking about no excuses, full accountability. But I know that I need to put something out there. And rather than spending hours thinking of a topic, writing the script, polishing the script, recording it several times to make sure it sounds right, editing, etc., I need to publish something. And I've got plenty of things to talk about and plenty of things to teach. So let's just freeball it. Today I want to talk about what Chris Williamson refers to as unchosen suffering, or rather chosen suffering. So this is the idea that unchosen suffering is going to happen in our lives, right? So your relationships are going to break down, your loved ones are going to die, you're going to lose your job, you're going to lose your assets, your money, etc. And there's only one way to prepare yourself for that, and that's through chosen suffering. And this all ties into the fighter mentality when it comes to get better, and we talk about survivor, fighter, king. Survive, fight, conquer. The majority of it comes down to the middle part, the fighter mentality, and the kind of the foundation of that is this. It's chosen suffering. It's facing hardships head on. It's embracing hardships, embracing adversity. So, speaking from experience, when things went wrong for me, when things went bad for me, and I had been just kind of floating through life, no real drive, no purpose, nothing pushing me, nothing that I was aiming towards, and I was just kind of going with the flow and just taking each day as it comes. So if get better is stoicism, I would say the opposite would be hedonism, right? Which is what most people do. Not everyone. There's a select few who don't, who embrace the hardships, but I was definitely one of the many who sought hedonism, right? Hedonism being the kind of seeking pleasure, seeking whatever is pleasurable and easy and in the moment. And that's why you've got so many people on, I know I harp on a lot about social media. It's just because I've never been on it. So I'm very much kind of someone on the outside looking in, and I don't understand it. And that's because I've never had it. So I see, I know people in my life, friends and family, and people that I pass on the street, and colleagues and co-workers and things who are on Instagram and TikTok, and they just, they blindly, they literally have this muscle memory thing where they scroll, tap, scroll, tap, scroll, tap, scroll, tap, and they're not even taking anything in. And, my YouTube stats back this up. So when you create things on YouTube, you get access to what's called the YouTube Studio, which has like a wealth of statistics and data behind how your videos are performing. And the average view duration for my videos is like 20 seconds or something. And that's not on my shorts. That's on my, these videos, which are, I don't know, like 3 minutes long. And that's not, that's to be expected because I'm, just starting out and I'm very amateur kind of creator. But there's a long form podcast channel which I watch a lot of, and he on today's episode he actually shared a screen grab of his YouTube studio, and he's got like 2.5 million subscribers and 1,000 videos, several million hours watched or something. Just definitely successful. But even his average duration was I think it was less than 5 minutes. I'm rambling, but it all points to the same thing, right? It's this TikTok brain, instant gratification, can't stick with anything for more than a few seconds. And this has been studied by the likes of Andrew Huberman, who talks a lot about the instant gratification thing that we've got, constantly hunting dopamine. And that's all these things are doing. These smartphones and the apps and the definitely social media, instant dopamine hits. Like swipe, see something for a couple seconds, dopamine, bang, reward, awesome. Next one, like dopamine's gone. Next one, few seconds, bang, dopamine, yes, good. And if I swipe and I don't get instant dopamine like within a couple seconds, I'm not getting anything. So swipe, 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 swipe. It's hedonism. It's just pure. I need pleasure now. Whatever it is now, and that's while I wasn't doing the social media, I was still pursuing hedonism in that I was, the other stuff that I constantly harp on about the video games and the TV, right? So I went for a beer the other day with a friend, and when I left, it would have, and I was walking home, and this was a Sunday night. It was probably like 9 o'clock at night on a Sunday, and I walked past several blocks of apartments, and you could see in through the, I wasn't like creeping through the windows, but it was like 100 meters away, and I could see in dozens and dozens and dozens of windows, and all of them were exactly the same screens. Netflix, Prime, Disney, Xbox, PlayStation, whatever it was, every single window there was a screen on. And it's like, what are you doing? And I was the same. That's what I'm saying. I did the exact same thing. And when you do that for days and weeks and months and years and decades, you're just pursuing the good feeling, the pleasurable stuff. When the inevitable, and it is inevitable, when the inevitable hardships come, the unchosen suffering, when your wife leaves you, when your parents die, when, heaven forbid something happens to your kids if you've got kids, when you get made redundant from your job, when you lose all your money, like whatever it is, it will happen. The severity differs, but like most of us are going to lose our parents. Most of us are going to go through a breakup. Most of us are going to lose our job. Most of us are going to fall on hard times financially. That's going to happen for most of us. And when it does, you need to be prepared. And if you, like I have spent your entire life just doing the feel-good stuff, then when that shit happens, it hits you like a fucking train. You have not prepared yourself mentally for it whatsoever. And that's when you break. And that's why I broke. And it was only through this experience I was able to learn the hard way, albeit, that you have to prepare yourself for these things. Now, I've been through hard times, but this is the thing about hard times, right? It's somewhat contextual in that. So when I went through my lowest ebb, I joined a support group, you could call it. It was on WhatsApp. It was international, so it was mainly guys from America. It was like a divorced men's or divorced dads thing over WhatsApp. Guys who were really struggling with their mental health following their divorce. And part of it is when you join, you kind of introduce yourself and just give a kind of brief overview of your circumstance and your story and your situation. And I did mine. And I kind of said like, okay, so let's see. It was like a 3-month long period that my fiance and I were kind of going through this tumultuous period. So basically she cheated on me. We spent 3 months in this tumultuous period. And then finally, after these 3 months, she, finally told me the truth and said, yeah, I've been seeing this guy. And then the other guys in the chat would kind of tell their stories, and I felt horrible because theirs were, in comparison, in my opinion, worse than mine. There was one guy who was like, so my wife left me, filed for divorce and took the kids and fled to another country, and I haven't seen them in, months or whatever. I've heard stories of dads who they had to do handovers, like parental handovers at police stations. Plus, let's not brush over the fact that we weren't even married. I referred to her as my wife, or I did refer to her as my wife, just as she referred to me as her husband for many years because we were engaged for a long time. But we definitely considered each other already married. But we weren't. We were engaged. And therefore, when she left, it was albeit difficult time for me. It was somewhat clean in that we didn't have to get lawyers and go to court and do the whole divorce proceedings. And hearing the guy's stories about how brutal that can be when you've got these two lawyers who are just in it for themselves, right? They're just trying to get as much money as possible from the other party to get as much money for themselves. At least I didn't have to go through that. So yeah, in comparison, I was like, oh man, I thought my shit was bad. They've got it way worse than me. And I said that to them, and they were honest, and they're like, look, man, you can't compare what you're going through to what someone else is going through. Because no matter how hard your experience is, it's still the hardest experience you've ever had, right? If a 13-year-old boy at high school gets broken up with, he's in a relationship with a girl for a month and it's his first kiss, and, it doesn't go beyond that. He's only 13. And then she decides she likes another boy and goes and kisses him instead. In comparison, that's nothing, right? That's probably something we've all been through as well. But to him, at that time in his life, that is still the hardest thing he's ever experienced. I wasn't ready for it. That's the point I was trying to make. I wasn't ready for it because I'd done the hedonism for so long that when this, horrible thing happened to me, I crumbled and I broke, and I did some, or I should say I nearly did some things that I couldn't take back. So I went through the survivor phase, which, lasted about several months for me, but having lived it and experienced it and refined it and condensed it, I've been able to now condense it for about a month for people that, are at rock bottom and they need to be in that survivor phase. But once I got out of that, and once others come out of that and they join the fighter module, that's where we look for these chosen sufferings. And again, I know I repeat myself a lot, and I'm going to do it again. That includes things like waking up when you don't want to, and having those cold walks and cold runs and cold showers when you don't want to, and going to the gym when you don't have the motivation, and eating the healthy stuff when you really crave the pizza. It gets to the point in the fighter module where you love it. You love, it takes a while, weeks or months of discipline and enduring the hard shit and being like, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this, but I have to do it. I hate this, but I have to do it. I hate this, but I have to do it. To the point where you're like, when you start seeing results in that, an unchosen suffering happens, and suddenly you're like, it means nothing now. Like, I've been through hell. Like, that means nothing to me. I was made redundant twice in 12 months. I lost 5 figures in terms of finances during that period, and I was like, means nothing compared to what I've been through up until this point, and compared to the shit that I'm putting myself through every fucking day. That means nothing to me now. I'm gonna go for a fucking run. I'm gonna go to the gym. I'm gonna have a cold shower. Like, I'm really poor at articulation, so I'm probably the worst person to actually release content, right? But I can't stress enough how important this is, chasing chosen suffering in order to prepare yourself for the unchosen suffering. If it's the one and only thing I could ever leave behind, or leave to someone, or bestow upon someone, it would be that. It would be this, right? Stoicism. Embrace hardship. Embrace adversity. Face it head on. Seek it. Don't just wait for it to happen. Seek it. Waiting for it to happen is actually the worst thing to do, because that's what I did. Lay around, it's all happy days and rainbows. Unchosen suffering. Fuck. Chase it. Look for it. I don't know what you're doing right now. I don't know what time it is. Here it's still early, 4:30, dark outside. It's raining though, so I'm going to go for a walk. I've already got my steps for the day. I've already been to the gym. I've done everything. But hey, looks fucking horrible out there, so I'm going to go out there. It's worth it in the end, man. I promise. Yeah, tangential, rambling. Get better. Survive, fight, conquer. Get better. Guys, I put this out to help people push through. If you're dealing with something, drop a comment or send me a message. I want to hear from you. And if you know someone who's struggling, share this with them. Let's help them get better. Remember, we don't just survive, we fight, we conquer. Iron sharpens iron.